Hey now, how is everybody doing? Welcome to Red Alert Diaries with Tanya E. Hood. On this podcast, we have conversations about marriage, divorce, money, and legacy. And I want you to join me on the journey. I share insight about the various hats that I've worn that have helped my clients make a strategic impact, both personally and professionally, to have better than what life has been given them. On this podcast, we have conversations that inspire you to grow. So together, we can operate in excellence. And today we have a special guest joining us, Miss Dion Roberts. Hey, Dion, glad you're here.
So glad to be here. Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you for the invitation. I'm
And
looking
thank you so much for joining us. But before we begin, I have got to introduce you to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, Dion guides women through menopause, whether they have entered into it naturally or surgically. Women who no longer know who they are and have not yet reached who they are becoming. She brings 27 years of training experience and skills as a therapist into her work. She can serve at the highest level and doing so from many angles so that women can live their best life. In her Menopause and Hister Sisters Club, she helps women embrace rest and body repair and maintain their health like a phoenix so that they can rise and soar. Dion, I want to thank you so much for being here. Would you like to share a little bit more about yourself with our audience?
Yes, Tanya, I'd love to. So I start put people often think I'm really younger, like younger than I actually am. I'm going to be 50 this year. So don't let this fool you into thinking, what does that girl know about menopause? Because I do get that quite a lot. So my menopause journey started quite young in the sense of I went through it a couple of times surgically. And that is because I had endometriosis, for which I was diagnosed with when I was 21. So surgical menopause was up and down throughout my youth. And then I had a radical hysterectomy in 2015. So that's 7 years ago now. And that has taken me on a whirlwind of a journey and helped me find my passion, which is helping other menopausal women, especially his sisters that has gone through the same journey.
It sounds like this is part of your passion. Can you tell us a little bit more about what inspires you? Because you've gone through a journey, and I want to say thank you first for opening yourself up and sharing this deep insight with us and this personal nature. Share more about what's inspiring you.
The passion comes from the misinformation that's out there. And I don't mean misinformation from Google. In fact, Google is actually one of our friends, and so is social media when it comes to this topic, because what you've got is real women talking to other people and sharing the real stories of what's gone on for them and the realities of what's failed, what's worked, and how long something actually does take to heal. And the the powers of being in reference to authority, so hospitals, governmental rules and regulations, which then from politics go down into the hospital system, which then goes down into the workforce system, tells women, patient information leaflet that you get when you're discharged from the hospital, how long it would take you to heal. And they aren't always in line with actual biology in reference to how long it takes to heal. So just for example, take the intimacy that you have with your partner. You go into how many Facebook groups and you'll see so many comments about women bleeding out because they were intimate with their partner, because the regulations say it was fine to. You passed the 6 week mark. And it makes you kind of wonder, these boardroom tables where these rules were set and made as to how long we should put on that leaflet for that woman. Should we give her 6 weeks off work or 8 weeks off work? Is actually the maximum's 12. And it's not in line with actually how long an abdominal open surgery cut takes to fully heal. I'm not talking clothes with one layer of skin over it. Yet that might take 12 weeks. But what's going on underneath and causing adhesions within the other organs, that's a world of healing, like years of healing that actually needs to take place. But your boss isn't going to pay you any more than 12 weeks. Your partner, well, it's like he should be able to congregate with his wife, or it should be okay for him to look elsewhere after 12 weeks. So the whole of society has conjoined together in reference to these numbers that women are, especially if we're alpha women, we are battling to it's like a competition. Oh, I was out driving my car after my hysterectomy just in 2 weeks. And then you see another woman who's like can't get out of bed after 2 weeks, feels really bad that she's a shit mother because that's the comment she reads.
So let's
So
pause
we're
really quick
conditioned.
because
So you see my
we got
passion.
a
Thank you for
couple of
that.
different things. So I'm seeing your passion, and I thank you so much because this is not the conversation that a lot of people have. So let's back up for a few seconds. For that individual that first is going through getting the information from their doctor, we like to follow that insight. But what I'm hearing is we need to pay a little bit more about how we heal. How does a woman walk through getting more insight about how she heals so that she has more clarity about what's happening with her body? And I want to preface this for those of you that are watching. This may get a little bit graphic in the conversation. We'll try to keep, PG as much as possible, but we got to have a conversation because too many times we are walking around hearing various things, Google mastering everything and not paying enough attention to the fact that there's some element of your being that knows more about you. Let's take a pause there and talk a little bit more about how will they know specifically to hear their body, feel through the process to begin to get healed and whole.
Listening to your body, not believing everything that is written and given to you by someone within authority, but listen to your body. And it's hard for us as women. It's like from the moment we were born as women, we haven't had autonomy over our bodies. It was the bodies of our parents, and then our partners, and then even in the workforce, because you are a member of the labor force. And so the disconnection, which is one of the reasons why I love your work, Tanya, the disconnection of, because, you do promote this, getting in touch and getting to know yourself after you've been ruptured. And so healing, injury, illness, dis-ease, it's a message to come back to yourself and listen to your body and not be in competition with your body. And that's the first step.
Here's something that I'm glad that you are sharing, that we don't pay enough attention because we're running here and there, the hustle and bustle, to pause enough. So one of the first steps that I'm hearing is take the time to get to know what's going on in your body. But for some individuals that are going through maybe not just the surgical part, just the natural progression of menopause, there's this thing called perimenopause because I was in the middle of all of that. That's not a clear path. My personal journey for me has been going on for several years. There was a time my body decided, okay, we're done completely. And I didn't have a period for almost 2 years. But I also learned that part of that beginning of the perimorph phase was because stress and other things in life initiated that. How do we distinguish where when we're in menopause or is it perimenopause? Is there something that you can share related to that?
Yeah, I can. So there is this different philosophies, but they all conjoin when it comes to balancing your hormones. So doing everything that you can do to balance your hormones. So if you haven't have your hormones, your ovaries surgically removed, by being a good host for your hormones. So having your gut be a good host for your hormones, having your bones and your muscles, so strengthening your muscles to protect your bones would be giving and being a good host for your hormones. Working with your mind, so constantly taking on projects that makes you having to learn something new and challenging yourself mentally to exercise your brain is also being a good host for your hormones, because the hormones come from they're produced in our ovaries, but they get the signal from the brain to be produced. So being a good host and healing and just having a healthy lifestyle, and I don't just mean just going to the gym, but in the way in reference to your hormones, being a good host for them will balance them. And then by balancing your hormones, your body would either take you through it, and there's many different types of menopause. There's even the silent type of menopause, which kind of is a little bit of a syncing of what you were talking about. Um, and that is when a woman's period has just stopped, or or there hasn't stopped, but she has no other symptoms of menopause. So that's no sleep disturbances, that's no aches and pains, that's no brain fog, that's no hot flushes, and then all of a sudden the period stopped, but she has no other symptoms. And it's like, am I in menopause or am I not? Because all these stuff that women are talking about, I'm not experiencing that. And that's called the silent menopause type. So as long as your body has the right nutrients that it needs for when a woman is perimenopause or menopause, that is you being a good host for your body. And if your ovaries has decided they are done, or they are going to be done, then so be it. But as long as you're doing what's right for them is what matters.
And so, what I'm hearing is we've got to pay attention to the bigger scope of who we are as women, which we don't get the chance to do because we're running around. So, I'm hearing a challenge. The challenge that you're giving the rest of us is to pay better attention to us. You stated earlier that one of the things we have to do is start believing more of who we are so that we can control our environments, control more of our bodies instead of letting everybody around us take control over those moments. Let's go a little bit deeper into that because in this day and age, not enough people know how to pause enough to hear. Because you said if you start listening to your body when you get to the end phase of knowing where to be healed and how to walk through that, how do we get there first? Because too many people don't know how to silence themselves enough to hear what their body is going through so they can adjust the environment that they need to adjust so that they can start being a better host for their hormones. Because I've never heard anybody say be a better host for your hormones. That doesn't quite register. Help us walk through that a little bit more. Tell us a little bit more about how to do that.
So let's go back to the first thing that you said about taking time out to be in touch with ourselves. Yeah, let's start there. I know it's hard. People have work, they have relationships, they have a household, they have children. And at that same time as bringing up children, no matter how old your children are or child is, there's also the parents on the other scale of that who are getting elderly, and there's care that needs to be taken in that direction as well. So a woman at that age is stretched in all directions. I get it. And so what happens is that Amani's saying, I ain't got time for that. But again, it's this ease is going to force you to take time for that. And if you don't, then you ain't going to be able to do all those jobs and wear all those hats. So for those who it's finding something that will help you come back to yourself. I'll call it coming home to yourself. Your home is your heart. And if you choose an activity, whatever that activity looks like for you, you know you better than anybody else. So whether that is running, whether that is jogging, whether that's something creative, whether that's journaling, whether that's drawing, painting, whether that's just sitting iced tea on the porch, you know what you like doing. And it's just choosing something you like doing and then doing it only with yourself. I also call it going on a date with yourself. And when you are on that date with yourself, there's no other noise. So you actually can hear yourself. And for some, it's the first time, but most women, as I said, it's just world, it's not the women. We pick up our phones at that point, or we take a book to do at the same time. So we're still not really listening to ourselves. And therefore, the second step is to find a sister circle, which is why my business is called Menopause and Hister Sisters Club. Because when you sit in a sister circle, what a circle is, it's magic. It's a magical container that allows you to come home to yourself. The process is that each circle, each event, there will be a specific theme. In the sharing circle, whatever the poignant question of the month is, which is menopause based, there's no interruptions. So no woman is allowed to speak over another woman, interrupt her, cut her off, or offer advice afterwards. So what happens is that a woman shares in reference to answering the question for herself, starting with I. And as she's talking, she becomes like a flower or an onion. So she's delayering down. And as she keeps stripping down another layer, because the first answer will be superficial. I think, I feel, it's not me. So as she keeps going, this is what I mean by the container being so magical. One, she really gets down, so she becomes more and more authentic, and she's hearing, it's her own voice she's hearing. And as she starts to speak more and more authentically, she also starts to channel source. So the energy, the message, the wisdom is coming from there. And then she starts to basically coach her own self, hear the answers to her own problems. And then she gets it. She leaves the circle knowing what to do, how she feels, how to make changes in her life, how to readdress things that needs readdressing. And then listening to other women share from a different perspective, but on the same thing. It's also medicine and wisdom given to her.
So Dion, thank you so much for putting that information out there. We need to learn more about digging deep. Is this something that you share with your clients? Can you tell us a little bit more about what you share with your clients?
Yeah, so if one does at the end of this, listening to this podcast, go to pick up 3 Secrets About Menopause, she will be invited to one of those circles at the end of that. But take my program for women that's having surgical menopause. I also include this concept of sisterhood circles within the program itself. So the program is called Heal Abdominal Wounds and Scars. So the wound is the story behind the scars. And so using this modality of sister circleship, we get to explore and heal the trauma of the wounds. And then giving the same amount of attention to the hands-on healing of clearing up the scar tissue within a woman's abdomen and pelvic regions.
Thank you for that. You mentioned part of the secrets that you're talking about the video. That goes into something that you shared with me that you were going to give as a gift to my guests. Can you tell us a little more about that gift?
I called it 3 Secrets About Menopause because it comes from my experience, my trainings, and also my secrets. Because it's things that, like I said, like how the conversation began. It's things that doctors aren't going to discuss with you. It's, it's too intimate. It's also things that about one of the secrets is, I'm not going to say what any of them are, by the way. No, but one of them, the last one, is something that it's not on any leaflet. It's not on a book. It's not spoken about until you're in it. It's that element within menopause when a woman thinks she's going crazy. That one. So the doctor's answers to that is, here's some antidepressants. And only another woman going through menopause, no, you're not crazy. That's the menopause. When I have a name for it, and that's in video 3. And video 2 is the thing that your doctors would say, that's just, that's too personal for them to get involved in that conversation. It's the conversation you can't always trust with your girlfriends because you don't want them gossiping about it. And it's something you can't talk to your family about because it's embarrassing. So all 3 of them, you could say, are taboo subjects that are not taboo in Dion's world, but essential for a menopause woman to start taking off the band-aid, talking about it, so that she can heal and keep her family together.
Well, I am so ready to look at these secrets. So I want to encourage all of you today to get the opportunity to get those secrets. It's going to be available to you at 3secretsaboutmenopause.com. I'm going to put that link in so that you all get quick access to it. But Dion, I want to say thank you so much for opening yourself up, sharing this information with my audience. Can you give us one last thing that they can take away today that they can use to begin the process of, all right, I'm not sure, but this is one thing I know I can do?
One thing. Oh my God. One thing. Can I give 2? Make these 2 things. They're very simple. You may even go, what's that got to do with menopause? It's to do with life and surviving, like living. Make your breath and water, make them your best friend. And I honor water as a menopausal woman because anger, meno rage, the elements of that is water. Tears, which you'll experience a lot, water. Hot flushes, water. Secret number 3 in the video series also is about water, but it's not about water, but it's the element of. And lastly, every physical element in your body, that's why they call it drying up. Water slows it down, replenishes your body so that things can settle without it shriveling to a degree and way before your age needs to. Water and breath, make them your best friends.
Thank you so much for this, Dion. I am glad that you have shared it. So, everyone, you have already heard. She is sharing 3-part video as a secret. Go to 3secretsaboutmenopause.com. Thank you again, Dion, for empowering the individuals that you work with, giving my audience some insight about what they can do. And so for today, if you don't remember anything else we've shared, here's the one thing we want you to know. Challenge yourself to dig deeper into who you are so that you can hear the silent moments of your soul give you insight about how to be a better host for yourself, your body, and when you walk through this phase of menopause, you're not by yourself. There's someone that can join you on the journey, so please reach out to Dion for that. And if you want someone else to join you on the journey, as we talk about other things, feel free to go to my website, TanyaEHood.com. There you can click under the Work With Me tab to see the various ways that we can work with one another. And if you're on Instagram, join us live. We're going to continue this conversation today so that you can get more information about it. We'll be there at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so that we can continue the conversation, or Maybe we'll start a new one. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.
To complete it.